Welcome to DIYEasyCrafts.com, how to make an easy, do-it-yourself ceramic tile chess or checkers board. Now we're going to use a mosaic tile in two different colors, a light and a dark, combined with wood molding of your choice. And we're also going to use some 1x2 lumber to create an inner frame. So the molding is going to create the outer frame. The 1x2s is going to hold some plywood that is going to support the tiles. The tiles are going to be thin set and grouted in place, and the end result is going to be a beautiful indoor ceramic tile and molding chess or checkers board. This is a very easy project to do. It does take a couple of days, but really that's mostly due to the drying time. So you start off by buying two ceramic tiles or mosaic tiles. Each one of those is going to have 6 rows of 6 smaller tiles, and you get a light and a dark. You really need 8 rows for a chess set, so you measure the 8 rows, and on my tiles that came out to needing a frame that was 16 1/4 of an inch on the inside of this cut. So basically I'm going to cut 4 pieces to create the outer frame of the molding, all with 45-degree angles. I'm also going to cut a 1x2. I'm going to cut 2 14 3/4 inch pieces and 2 16 1/4 pieces. The molding is going to be the outside of the frame. Whatever molding you choose, it has to have a flat bottom. I ended up using chair rail. The 1x2s are going to create the inner frame as shown. Now, without modifying those 1x2s, when I insert a piece of 1/4 inch plywood, the tiles that I'm going to use just stick up too high. They're above the upper edge of that molding. So I'm going to take each one of those 1x2s and just run it through a table saw and cut them down to 1.25 inches in height. Again, this measurement you may have to adjust if you use a different molding. So now when I lay a 1/4 inch piece of plywood in there to support the tiles, the thicker of the tiles is going to be actually below the top surface of the molding by about 1/8 of an inch. So that gives me room for the thin set. I'm going to basically just screw that inner frame together just with screws. I pre-drilled the holes so the wood would not split. I'm going to attach the molding to that inner frame with Elmer's glue or wood glue, and you could clamp this together and wait for the glue to dry, or in my case I just used very small brads and hammered it in place. I also used the same brads just to secure the 1/4 inch plywood in place, and that's just a piece that's cut 16 1/4 by 16 1/4. The next step is to prep the mosaic tiles. I start with the thicker tile. In this case, the lighter tile is significantly thicker than the dark, and you want to remove every other tile from its backing. This is just a rough layout of the tiles and how the finished product is going to look. But before I actually start to tile the piece, I'm going to stain the wood. You could stain it any color you'd like. You could even paint the wood if you preferred. And I set that aside to dry overnight before I applied thin set. Now the thin set is going to secure the tile to the plywood, and you just apply a nice even coat. It's got grooves with the groove tool. It allows you to press the ceramic tiles down into it, and then I'm going to start applying the tiles. When you're applying the tiles, you want to make sure or try to make sure that all of the tiles are kind of level. So on the darker pieces of tile, I'm going to use a little bit more of the thin set, and I'm not going to push it down all the way. I'm only going to push it down until it's level with its surrounding thicker tiles. So you're trying to end up with a board that's uniformly level on the surface. Now the process of applying all these tiles really doesn't take all that long. Try to visually maintain an equal line or space in between all of the tiles. try to maintain that you have a similar edge or space around the whole diameter of the board. But this whole process only takes 20 or 30 minutes at the most. So after the tiles are in place and they've set overnight, it's time to grout the board. I'm using a sand-colored grout for this particular board and this color combination, but you can get mosaic tiles in almost any color. You could do white and black, or you could do a light tan and a really dark tan, whatever's available in your area, whatever your choices are. But anyway, you want to push the grout down into each one of those grooves. I just use a plastic putty knife. After all of the grout is done and pushed into all of those grooves, I actually scraped away as much as I could with the putty knife, and then I used a dampened sponge to start to lift away or scrub away any grout that remains on the surface. You really don't want grout to cover your tile. You only want it to be in the grooves on the sides of the tile. So a couple wipes downs with the sponge. I then went to just a moistened towel. Seemed to do a really nice job just getting rid of any residual grout that was either on the surface of the tile or on the wood. This project's almost finished. I just used some painter's tape, protected the actual surface of the tile, and then I used some spray lacquer to create a high gloss finish on the wood frame. You peel that painter's tape. The only thing additionally that I did to finish off this chessboard was I applied 4 of those little round felt self-adhesive tabs, just to make sure that the chessboard wouldn't scratch any interior furniture. And that's basically it. A very simple, easy to make, do-it-yourself ceramic tile and wood molding chess or checkers board. Please check us out on the web at DIYEasyCrafts.com. Be sure to check out our other how-to videos. And if you like this video, I ask that you please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel.